Determining whether you're eligible for compensation after suffering a slip and fall injury isn't easy. So I'm going to explain this form of compensation as simply as I can and hopefully help you understand how to make a successful claim. Some of the most common injuries we see are the result of a slip and fall. Now, slip and fall accidents can lead to minor injuries such as lacerations or bruising, but they can also lead to very serious and life-changing injuries. Now, in this case, claiming compensation is often the only way to get the treatment you need to get your life back on track. Now, in order to determine if you're entitled to slip and fall compensation, there are essentially two requirements you have to meet. Firstly, you need to show that your slip and fall accident could have been avoided if the person responsible for the premises had taken action to prevent it. Secondly, you can only sue for your losses. So if you had a significant injury with time off work and medical bills, it's likely to be worth pursuing a claim. For example, let's say you enter a supermarket and there's a wet floor with clearly visible wet floor signs. Now, if you proceed to walk through the wet floor and you hurt yourself, that claim may not be successful because you were warned by the signs. Now compare that to a male client of ours that we recently represented who was injured at a food outlet. In his case, there were wet floors and there were initially wet floor signs, but an employee had come along and removed the wet floor signs before the floor had completely dried. And importantly, before our client even entered the store. Well, our client unfortunately entered the store, slipped on the wet floor and suffered significant injuries. After gathering all the necessary evidence, we were able to prove that the accident could have been avoided if the appropriate steps had been taken. And once we got to know him and took the time to understand how the accident specifically impacted on his life and the lives of his loved ones, we were able to get all the compensation that he was entitled to and help him get his life back on track. When looking at your claim, the chances of obtaining all the compensation that you're entitled to is largely impacted by the quality of the evidence you collect. Now, slip and fall claims can be quite complex, and an experienced slip and fall lawyer can help you gather and present the following essential evidence for your claim. Photos of the hazard, witness reports and cleaning records, CCTV footage that shows how long the hazard had been there, and medical reports from the right medical professionals who will do a full head-to-toe assessment. And depending on the extent of your injuries, you may be eligible to claim compensation for lost wages, medical expenses, domestic assistance, and pain and suffering. Hopefully this has been helpful to you, but if you're still unsure about slip and fall compensation or need help with your claim, call Law Partners and have a confidential conversation with one of our specialist slip and fall lawyers today.